Hey guys, welcome to my Season 2 Episode 6 review of the Halo series. And I have to say, for the most part, this episode was pretty solid. The episode, called Onyx, was focusing on, of course, the Spartan 3s, and it showed glimpses of them training under the leadership of Kai, and I really loved these scenes. And of course, the episode did focus on Chief and the Arbiter as well, but I think straight away I have to say that the highlight for me was seeing the Spartan 3s in combat. I loved watching them train, and the Spartan 3 armor, which is the SBI armor from Halo Infinite, looks absolutely insane. Fair play to the designers and costume team on the Halo series. I really couldn't believe how good these look. And yes, don't worry, there were a few gripes I had with this episode, and there was one bit where I really thought Mackie would die from the Arbiter, but of course that didn't happen. But we also got to see the Master Chief go up against Oni, and no one likes Oni, especially after what they did to Chief and Silver Team. Now, I have seen some Halo fans ask the question why Chief was fighting the UNSC soldiers, but it's very important to remember that these aren't UNSC, these are Oni soldiers, and Reach fell because of Oni. And the whole spiel of Oni doing things for the greater good of humanity, that was really driven home once you saw the Spartan 3s. We all know that they are going to be expendable and most likely die in the next episode, and I think that was very clear to see in their simulations. Once the Spartans had infiltrated the Covenant ship and done the spike, there was suddenly no Covenant forces and they were able to complete the mission with no issue. I believe Ackerson made the simulation like that because he knows those Spartans aren't getting out. The missions those Spartans get sent on will no doubt be suicide missions. There is no escape plan, and I guarantee you that's why they faced no enemies after they had planted the spike. Now, that would have to be my highlight of the episode. With that said, I think the one thing I would have preferred to have seen fleshed out a bit more would be Perez's transition from a regular corporal in the UNSC to a Spartan 3. We start the episode with her already training alongside her fellow Spartan 3s, and I assume it's only been a couple days since the fall of Reach. How she made the jump so quickly to a Spartan, I'm not too sure. I do understand that Oni would have capitalized on the chance to recruit someone like her for the Spartan program, especially because she lost her family, as well as feeling guilty about Admiral Keyes. It was still very cool seeing her in the suit, and I do like Perez as a character, so I am hoping we see her going forward, but I wouldn't be surprised if she does bite the dust in the next episode. We do have a B plot that shows Soren trying to rescue his son. Thankfully, there's not too much shown about that in this episode. My guess is that he was forced into the Spartan 3 program. I feel like that's the logical step for Kessler. Him being Soren's son, the son of a Spartan, that must be the reason why Oni jumped at the chance to get Kessler, but if I do have to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this B plot. It just feels like it's been dragging on for a bit too long. We do see Quan meet up with Halsey down this hall, and they discover Miranda Keyes, who apparently has been working there for quite some time. I'm really hoping the artifact here in this scene is not going to be some sort of portal to Halo. I can't stress this enough, I would absolutely hate that. The Pillar of Autumn is the only way Chief and Cortana should get to Halo. It shouldn't be because of an artifact or anything like that. It needs to be a slip space jump to Halo, and not something they stumble into thanks to an artifact. I'm 99% sure that's not going to happen, I'm just not too sure what this artifact is. We do get to see a lot more of the Arbiter in this episode, and I really enjoyed every scene he was in. We get our first glance at an elite priest, and I believe she's from the same clan as Jor-Lam Dama. I thought that was a pretty cool reference to Halo 4 and 5, and I really liked seeing the priest's small energy sword. It's not an energy dagger from Halo Reach, but it's more like a miniaturized energy sword, and I have to say it looked really cool. I was crossing my fingers that Mackie would bite the dust thanks to the priest, or even the Arbiter, but unfortunately that was not to be the case. Just when we think the Arbiter is about to kill Mackie, he decides to fight some of his elites. I couldn't really tell if any elites went to his side. I have to assume there were a few elites fighting for him, but I thought it was pretty badass of him to take on the other elites. I wish we saw more of the engagement instead of Mackie crawling towards the keystone, but hey, I still thought the scene was pretty good. And now let's go to the Master Chief and his story throughout this episode. It starts with him getting captured by Oni, and I did enjoy seeing the brute force of the Master Chief even without his armor, but it was a shame seeing him and Kai go at it. With that said, it wasn't really a fight, it was more like Chief just taking the hits from Kai. And at this stage, he is already super weak from all the other injuries he sustained on Reach, but thankfully Kai didn't kill him, and who comes to his rescue? Cortana. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the first interaction with Chief and Cortana in this entire season. I really enjoyed seeing the two of them work together, and I know it's a really small thing, but watching Cortana open the doors for Chief kind of reminded me of Halo 2 going through High Charity, where Cortana would always be there opening the doors for Chief. So what's interesting here is that Cortana is still on the Covenant ship, but she transmitted herself down to Onyx to talk to Parangoski to let her know how the plan is going, but what Parangoski doesn't know is that Cortana is helping Chief. And yeah, I really enjoyed this bit of the episode. This does lead to Cortana bringing John to the Keystone, and I do kind of wish that she led Chief to his armor first, but I do get it, it's all about building up tension, and we are going to see his suit up scene in the next episode. And I can't lie guys, I'm really looking forward to episode 7. I think episode 6, titled Onyx, was honestly a pretty solid episode. Yes, there were some issues here and there, but for the most part, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and in particular, I loved watching the Spartan 3 series, and I can't wait to see more of them in the next episode. This might be controversial, but I'm giving episode 6 an 8 out of 10. I think it's only going to get a lot better from here, and episode 7 seems to be replacing the fall of Reach with the fall of Onyx. They've kind of swapped the two, as a huge Covenant Armada is coming to Onyx. Very quickly guys, just want to say a huge thank you to all of you for 46,000 subs. I can't thank you all enough for the insane support lately, it means the world to me. If you're still here watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, please go do that now, I'd seriously appreciate it. And to all of you who have already, you're goddamn legends. Thanks guys, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good one.